sure that I have this for you guys to. Thank you, Ali. I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you and welcome everyone. I am so excited to be here with you today in your evening, I do suppose. I do understand it's evening there. And I just want to first and foremost thank Ali and Samia. My team has been working with you, and it's been a great honor to work with the Mile Institute. I am so excited to be aligning my company and my team with a company that cares so much about bringing leadership and entrepreneurial excellence to the Arab and Muslim world. My experience of you, Ali, is that you really care about the people and the participants, and so it's an honor to be here with you all today. So thank you very much. What I want to tell you a little bit about is what to expect. I want to welcome you all. Some of you might have already received the pre-homework, if you will, and some of you might not have yet. However, I do have something to share with you in a few minutes in regards to the importance of having those at your disposal and actually acting on them. The webinar today is divided into 8 parts, and hopefully you all have a copy of this presentation so you can take notes as I speak. And I just want to let you know a little bit about myself. Well, Ali, you did a fantastic job. I have had a very successful career. One of the most important things, though, that I want to share with you is that in all the careers that I've had and all the successes I've had as an entrepreneur, including being a millionaire by 31, it didn't start out that way. So let's just be clear. And I want to share this with you because I want to make sure that all the leaders and entrepreneurs that are out there, it's great to have your accolades, and I certainly have my share. However, how it all started is that my family actually came from Jamaica to the United States. My mom and my father did. And they came to the United States in hopes of a better life, better dream, better world. And, they got here. And the dreams that they had once they arrived, it didn't exactly end up that way. My family ended up being divorced after my mom had 3 kids at that time by my dad. They ended up not being together anymore. And so I'm sharing this because I also want to encourage anyone that is out there that has dreams and thought the plan was going so perfect and it was all aligned that, it's okay if it doesn't always work out. Because as a result of the challenges that I've had when I was much younger, being the oldest of 3 girls, it caused me to make sure that I took on a leadership role early in my household. And it looked like me being able to support my mother, going to grocery shopping. I remember that there were times where we had this big old list and, the funds that she gave me and the money that she gave me. And sometimes it didn't always cover everything on the list. But how can I go back to my mother and tell her that, Mom, it wasn't enough? Because what I knew is that I had parents that are hardworking. She was hardworking, and she tried to do her best to raise us 3 girls the best way that she could. And as a result of that, I always remember myself praying. I would pray, and I would say, God, please help me to be a blessing to anyone that I came in contact with. Please help me to share in abundance. Use me as a vessel. And I promise that I'll do better, and I'll make you proud. And I didn't realize until later on that I was supposed to be praying for dolls and for really fun things that little girls are supposed to, enjoy when they're younger. However, what I do know and why I am so happy to be here with you today is that I know that my prayers have been answered. And so I'm so excited to be here with you. It was placed early in my heart to come alongside very good people that were givers in the world, that wanted to make a difference in the world, and to serve them in a way that would give them the tools, the strategies, and plans so that they can live brilliantly and unapologetically in the world, so they can be of the highest servers in a way that they can also create abundance for themselves and their families. And I was able to do that, and I was able to have that seed planted into me very early from seeing how my mother actually did that same thing for her, for us, in our community, and all over. So it's really important to me, and I just want you to know that I'm very thankful to be here today. I want to also let you know that my company, we've been doing this worldwide, and I noticed from Miles organization. You guys serve the Middle East, North Africa, and Asia. And I guess as close as I've gotten to you is 2 years ago I was in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and it was so hilarious because I had wanted to go to Dubai for 10 years, no less than 10 years. And I finally got there and I arrived and I had a most wonderful time with amazing people. And I said to the gentleman on my birthday, I wanted to go there for my birthday, so I was there. And I said, oh my goodness, I'm so happy to be here. I've wanted to be here for at least 10 years, and he said, well, darling, he's like, 10 years ago, it didn't look this way, and so you showed up at the perfect time. So I'm hoping that in addition to showing up there, that I'm showing up here at the perfect time to provide you with the perfect message in hopes that it will serve you in your business and in your life. So what I would like to talk about now is just that this is an exclusive series that I created for the MILE organization, and this is the first of three exciting webinars for you. We are going to look at how to uncover, in the next webinar, we're going to look at how to uncover your unique serving proposition. Oftentimes in marketing, it's very popular to say unique selling proposition. However, everyone is not necessarily comfortable with selling or using that word. And there's a really huge distinction that I want to expose you to when we come together again on August 29th to reveal some of what makes it more powerful to be able to serve in your uniqueness so that you can uncover the real nuggets of improving your revenues, your bottom line, inspiring your team, and making a huge difference in the world. And then on September 10th, we're going to talk about the Live Rich, Spread Wealth systems. And I'll let you know a little bit about that movement that we have going on now, and that's my legacy work, if you will. However, on September 10th, I'll show you what it looks like to have repeatable success that's predictable, and that you show up powerfully regardless of if it's in your business or in your life, consistently every time, no matter where you are. And I will reveal those things on September 10th. And then here is just an example of where you can sign up to register for all of the other webinars. So without further ado, I want to share with you a never-before bonus. This is something that I've never done before. My company has never done before. And I was just so inspired about what MILE is all about, the organization, that I said, you know what, I want to play a part. And I want to play a part in a way that I can partner with someone that, or some folks, this is one of three chances to win here. I want to partner with the folks that take action, that are unstoppable, that are inspired to do the best that they can, and take quick action. So what we're providing is a chance to win one of three 1-hour one-on-one coaching spots with me, which I oftentimes command $2,000 for an hour to coach with me in any area of your business and your life. And I will tell you that I'm primarily a business coach and consultant. However, what I have found is that as I come alongside leaders and trailblazers, it is very important to recognize the need for a safe haven. And a safe haven in not only talking about business, but also talking about life. A place where you can go and kind of lay down your superpowers or your leadership role that sometimes it's hard to find a place for you to do that. And so I have been very astute with working alongside trailblazers in their lives. And this is something that I offer complimentary for the folks that take action and submit their information. And this is how you qualify. So you qualify by signing up for all three webinars, and I did share with you the dates, August 29th, today, August 29th and September 10th. So if you're here, you're already 1/3 step of the way. And then complete the pre and post work for each assignment within 1 week of attending the webinar. So as you might have just gotten the pre-work for this particular webinar, so both pre and post work should be sent back within 1 week of attending the webinar, and we'll let you know within 2 weeks who's been submitted and who did we receive. So that gives us time to review and evaluate it each time. So just want to let you know what that is all about. And I'm really excited about it, and I look forward to serving whoever those folks may be. So the pre-work in this instance, in this particular webinar, is to read the Module 1 of the Soul to Soul Home Study program and really look at what is the definition of your soul, of a soul purpose. I'll be speaking about this in great detail today, And so you already have the answers, really. Do you think you can live your soul purpose in your business and in life and be happy and abundant? Why or why not? What I love about this is that there is no wrong answer. It's really an opportunity for you to find a quiet space and just be honest with yourself. Listen to the true answers without being bogged down by outside noise or outside demands, and make space for you to really look into what this may look like for you and explore it. And then why did you sign up for this webinar? What did you hope to get out of it? And what I will love is that as I get the pre-work earlier is that I want to make sure that I am able to serve you in the best way and that we're able to hit specifically on what the things are that you're looking for. So without further ado, I'd love to kind of just let you know what you can expect from this particular webinar. And that is, by the time we're done, I want you to feel comfortable with having a good understanding of what is the soul purpose. I want you to understand the importance to live your soul purpose in your business and life. And I'll tell you, it's a very freeing experience. You can be dynamic, you can be all that you can be, plus so much more when you find out the importance and you're able to accept that and embrace it. And then I'll let you know, it's not only to live your soul purpose, it means being in there constantly. So we'll talk about the distinctions and the difference between sitting or standing in your purpose. How to listen, reflect, respect, and protect your soul purpose. And is the abundance that your soul purpose provides you. You'll find out how to accept, know and accept and be yourself, and what is key to success in life and business. And also how to turn your natural tendencies into amazing, abundant possibilities. And really be able to identify and recognize what your personal strengths are and find out ways to leverage them so you can create the life that you want and, quite frankly, the life that you deserve. So we'll talk about how to identify your soul purpose and learn how to put your soul purpose into action. So we'll talk about right now, what is a soul purpose? You know, that's something that I haven't received the pre-work, but that's something that I definitely want you guys to look and explore. But in the most simple definition of a soul purpose, it is your soul purpose is what you are meant to do in this world. It is the reason you were created. It's the difference between, it's different for everyone. So you are unique. While we are all connected by humanity and we are all related, your soul purpose is uniquely to you. It's the thing that people are like, wow, how do you do that? And you're like, what? I'm just breathing. Like, it's nothing for me to do this. And, you know, oftentimes in your soul purpose, we make it harder than it needs to be. We think, well, I can't get paid for this. This is too simple. You know, and in actuality, we were given everything that we needed upon coming to this world. And the thing that comes easy for you when you are utilizing it to serve others, then that is your gift, your sweet spot, if you will. So that is what a soul purpose is. And when I talk about where it all starts, you know, this is not unique to anyone. This is available to everyone. It doesn't matter if you're an individual contributor, a leader, an entrepreneur, or an intrapreneur. When I mention an intrapreneur, these are usually leaders that are leading organizations, leading divisions, leading departments within corporations. So you do have an opportunity to be an entrepreneur within an organization and serve in an amazing way and get rewarded as well. In your soul purpose, you'll have these characteristics in common. You know, what are your passions? What are your interests? What do you love to do? And honestly, people really look at you in just awe, like, oh my goodness, how do you do that so well? How do you articulate that so well? How do you think like that? Your problem-solving skills are amazing. How do you sing like that? How do you dance like that? I mean, we are all gifted with things that brings you joy and also brings others joy. And quite frankly, it doesn't feel like work. It lights you up. And it's a beautiful thing to really understand what that is and what it can do for you. So when we're looking at a soul purpose and we're talking about your sweet spot, I am not sure if you've been able to have the opportunity to read a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins, where he talks about finding your sweet spot, which is the intersection of what you like to do, what you're good at, and what people are willing to pay you for. See, there is a combination here that really serves you well once you're able to laser in on this. And this is the sweet spot in which your sole purpose lies. And in your post-work, we do have an assignment for you that will allow you to go through the exercise to see what that may look like for you. If you're a leader and you have a team, think about having them complete this exercise too. Is your team in the right place? Are they living out their sole purpose, or is there something else in the organization that would benefit them you will benefit? And I got promoted to manager. I mean, I had a really fast track in a Fortune 50 company. And when I actually got there, I realized within the first week that the estimates for my budget for my particular area was overestimated, and as a result, I was overstaffed by 15 people within my department. And the last thing that I wanted to do as a new manager in this particular opportunity in this organization was to have a layoff because these people were really hardworking folks. They definitely added value to the team. I actually came from the team, so I knew where their values lie. And what I chose to do instead of doing that is that I networked with other managers, other management throughout the organization, and I looked at what their gifts were. And I was able to place all 14, out of 15, I was able to place 14 in different roles throughout the company. And they were able to thrive and do well in each of those opportunities. So what I want to let you know is that there is a sweet spot for you, that you actually become valuable to an organization. If you are in a position or in a place where it's changing based on the economical times, based on the needs of the organization, it doesn't mean that there's not a place for you in this world to survive and thrive. But as a leader, I definitely looked at what were they good at, what did they like to do, and what did I know would still bring the company great revenues and productivity as a result of putting them in an area where I might not have needed them, but they can be very useful somewhere else. So why have a sole purpose? You know, oftentimes, especially if you're in an old corporation, and I get this because I have had a very successful corporate life before I had a very successful entrepreneurial life. And I will tell you, there was a time and space in my career that I would be like, what in the world are you talking about? Like, what is the importance of this? And what I have to say is, have you ever tried to drive from one point of a country or one point of a city to the other point, and you didn't even know, where you were going? You had no map. You had no automated system, no GPS, no tracker to show you how to get there. And you just went on a whim and hoped that you would get to where you're planning to go. And, some of us get there and some of us don't. And there's an easier way. Having a sole purpose is the same as having a compass on a road trip, except that this is a compass that will give direction to your life both personally and professionally. If you don't know what you are meant to do, you may find yourself working in a wrong job or networking in a field that doesn't excite you, or just being miserable all the time. So as a leader, it is really important to get clear on your personal vision or your sole purpose before you can begin to share your vision with your team and begin to build a great company. Sole purpose living is not unique. It's, so Oprah Winfrey is an example of someone that came from she was a poor abused girl, to perhaps the most well-known face on television and an agent of change across the world. She lives and inspires others to live their sole purpose every day. And so this is an example of someone that you might know that has been able to come from a background that, they probably would have counted her out if we were looking at statistics. But what I want to let you know today, I don't care what background you're from, you cannot be counted out. It is just based on what you choose to do, where you choose to accept where your sole purpose is, what your assignment is while you're here on this earth, and to live it the best way possible. Another person that I have to put in here is Michael Jackson, the king of pop, I guess I'd say. And some people like him and some people hate him, and that's real. And so he came from being a member of a Jackson 5 to being perhaps the most well-known artist in the world. And he found his purpose as a young boy and ran with it. And what I'm also suggesting is, You do not have to be perfect in your role in living your soul purpose. There is no expectation. We all have our ups and downs. Some of us have it more visible in the world than others, but none of us are unique. Then you have Mother Teresa, a young French girl who changed the definition of world compassion forever. Mother Teresa lived her soul purpose in a foreign country, serving people outcast by society, and her humanity and spirit will be remembered forever. I'll tell you, I have clients every day that are living their soul purpose. We have Dr. Bob here. He is a physician that he had worked in the ER, and he was always constantly seeing the ends of people's lives and the challenges that they face. And he chose to live his soul purpose by utilizing he's a healer, okay? So he chose to use his healing gifts to not only heal folks and assist them from a medical perspective, but also encourage them to live on purpose. And then we have a renegade leader, Dr. Deborah McLaughlin, and she's a lady that she had her own practice. She's a psychotherapist, had her own practice, and you know what? While she had so many alphabets behind her name, she was very pedigreed, if you will. She wasn't thriving in her purpose, and so she was courageous enough to say, you know what? My purpose is to utilize all my training, all of my gifts. She has a natural gift to bring out the best in leaders. And she has established a niche where she serves renegade leaders. She allows you to be your own unapologetic self and to live in a leadership role that inspires others, that you're authentically yourself. And she has done a great job of living in her soul purpose and blessing others as a result. And then we have Georgina Terry, who is also an accountant. And she lived her life as an accountant for many years. And it was very stable, very routine, predictable. And her value was always seen by any corporation that she worked with. She worked with the top 5 accounting firms in the world, oil-based industry companies, oil-based companies. And that was an industry that she did very well in. And now she actually has a company called Business and People Development. Turn your profits into productivity. And so she serves organizations and help them go through organizational change to change cultures within organizations. And so these are folks, whether you know of them or you don't know of them, these are folks that have been able to be courageous enough to make their difference, embrace their soul purpose, and live a life that they love. And so I want to encourage you and really kind of let you know that this is a soul purpose discussion, but it has a lot to do with courage. It has a lot to, I mean, I can share with you my journey career-wise, and it has not always been an easy road. I mean, Microsoft was pretty much the last organization that I actually worked for, and then I've had all my other clients from then on. And with a successful career, and to not always know what's this all about? I mean, I actually listened. Schooling, I did all my education. I did all the things that society said, oh, this is what you do. If you want to achieve anything in life and be a better person and really do great things in this world, you have to acquire this, 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 this. And, it might be different for you. But, I knew that getting an education was the most important thing, getting a great job was the most important thing, then being promoted in my role was the most important thing. And, man, I did it all. Exhausted at the end of the day, but I did it all. And when I came to the fact that I was, quote unquote, at the acme of my career, I looked around and I said, what exactly is this all about? I mean, money is great, and I never turned down money for the wrong reasons. But the thing is, money is not everything. It isn't. There's a whole aspect of life and living that is available to us. And that's what's important. And so even though I was able to be accomplished, I mean, I worked for the Bill Gates, the person that's well known around the world, I then branched off and said, okay, well, if I could help all these other companies make a lot of money, what would it take for me to be able to bring abundance to my own world and not be in this virtual reality, if you will, because before I was able to leverage other people's funds. So I decided to open up a boutique day spa. I mean, this day spa had a membership to it, just like men and a lot of wonderful golfers, women and men have golfing memberships. This spa had a spa membership. It was a very upscale boutique entrepreneurial venture for me. And while I've helped entrepreneurs in the past, this is the one that I went out on my own, and I invested highly into it. And this is actually the time that not only did I invest highly and had ups and downs, I actually was able to become a millionaire by 31. And I would say that when I first started on that venture, it was nothing. I did not even see that in the horizon for me. As a matter of fact, what I initially saw was, wow, there's a huge difference from being within an organization than being the organization as an entrepreneur. There were no other departments to look to, no place to turn left nor right. I was the one that had to do all of it, and it was a great learning experience, but I can honestly say that as I was doing all of it in the beginning, I was the happiest I could ever be. And there were not for the times where I was doubtful. So there were times where I had my spa, and it was the first time that I'd actually been in an experience of not really knowing how I was going to be able to cover payroll. And I don't know, some entrepreneurs on this call might go through that, some of you might not have. However, this was my time in which I was so discouraged. It was a Thursday and payroll was Friday. And it comes back vividly to me that I would rather die than not pay people the money that they've already worked hard to have. I mean, they are going back to their families. They have to put bread and butter on. They have to feed their families and come back to their households with the money that they've already worked for. And I always love to stay in integrity, and this felt just out of alignment, yet I was struggling. I was struggling so much so that I do believe my mother sensed it. She called me because I was in a different state, and she sensed that something was wrong. I mean, I really thought it was the end of the world. So much so she called my grandmother in Jamaica, and they both prayed for me throughout the night. They are the reasons that I'm here to talk to you today. And after the night had passed and I made it through, I was walking towards my spa, and there was a man there in front of the spa waiting on me, and he was waiting to sign up for a membership for his wife. And that membership allowed me to pay not only for payroll but also for supplies. And then, you know, I got hit with just a message for me at that time that, you know what, when I was the weakest, I was still serving in my sole purpose. I was being as fiscally responsible as I pretty much could. I was just creating a business on my own 2 feet with my own resources, and I was still yet being taken care of. I was able to serve, and I was able to serve all my clients in a way that it actually brought abundance to me as well. However, it wasn't for the lack of down times, you know, feeling, you know, in doubt, not sure, uncertain. And I mean, I don't know. Could you relate to that? Is there a time where you felt doubtful or uncertain? You knew you were on the right thing, the right journey, you were doing the right thing, but it wasn't like, you know, everyone affirmed your direction, but you knew that it was where you were supposed to be. And that was what it was for me. So I want to encourage you that sometimes the road is not always easy. However, you can do it, and you are uniquely designed to be that person to go through those experiences, the ups and downs, so that you can uniquely serve your community in a way that they will love you, they'll like you, and they'll trust you. Onward to the Broshe Group. I've been serving folks all over the world for a very long time now. My company is now at least 12 years old. And most recently, I mean, my company's been very established. I have great systems and great teams that are in my company. And recently, as of last year, a little over last year, I had a client by the name of Motivating the Masses. And some of you might have heard of this particular lady. Her name is Lisa Nichols. She is one of the teachers, the transformational coaches in The Secret. There's a movie and then there's a book that went worldwide. And this company is the first company to be courageous enough in this industry to take their company public. And so they recruited me to come in there and to help them and empower them to up-level their systems in their company so they would be well positioned to serve and to position themselves to go public. And so that is, I am no longer with them, because my assignment is complete there. I have already provided them the systems and the tools so that they are well positioned to do that when they choose to do so. And they have recently filed. So I'm just letting you know that in your sole purpose, you know, you are not limited by what you're able to do. It's so funny because I had a gentleman from Russia tell me the other day, he was like, you are the founder of systems being amazing because you were able to leave your own company for a year, serve in another capacity, and then come back to your company and have profits, do very well. And so I'm very thankful that I'm just here to just let you know that when you're in your sole purpose, you can be able to serve at huge magnitudes. You can get the energy, you can get the knowledge, you have more than enough, and it is possible. So even now I do consulting, I speak all over the world, I do consulting, and then I have a movement that I've started, and I've rebranded my company to Live Rich, Spread Wealth, and I'll tell you more about that later. So let's talk about, are you standing or sitting in your purpose? I want you to evaluate if you have already found your purpose. What are you doing with it? Are you sitting in it and waiting to take a leap of faith? Or have you found it and are living it full out? These questions, which are also in your workbook for this session, will help you determine if you're sitting or standing in your sole purpose. And this includes not only as an individual, but also as a company. So what does it look like? When you're sitting in your sole purpose as an individual, you feel unsure about your ability to live it. I mean, you might have, you know what it is. It's sometimes it's deeper in your heart or in your soul than others. Sometimes it's right there on the brink. And yet you still feel unsure about your ability to really live in this thing called sole purpose. You lack the confidence in yourself to do what you have to do, to do what you were destined to do. And sometimes you feel unwilling to take action and commit to living your purpose. And sometimes you'll take some steps to go forward, but you could really be going full out. And so what and you don't necessarily have to admit it to others, but you do know if you are living it full out boldly or if you are too timid. And then there's times when you might see glimpses of what the abundance, the glimpses of what abundance you can receive when you're living in your gifts, and what kind of abundance you can bring to your life and to lives of others. But these are glimpses and yet are yet not sustainable. So that is what it looks like when you're sitting in your sole purpose. Now, what does it look like when you're standing in your sole purpose? You are on fire. You are just energized. You feel driven, you're focused, you're unafraid. You're unafraid because you know like you know, and you're secure in an undeniable belief that you're destined to do whatever it is that you do. You do experience a sense of urgency because you are serving in the world, and you want to make sure that you do your part. And there's a level of an abundant level of energy that comes with this and what you do to live your purpose. You will have more than enough. I always liken it to if you're in a company and you're this great employee, you might be in a sales role and the customers love you. They are always singing your praise, and your boss is a smart person, and they see that with whatever you need, they're going to make sure you have it because they want to make sure that the clients are happy. And so they want to make sure that you're not distracted by things that do not serve you. They want to make sure that you get paid what you need to get paid to keep these clients happy, because these clients being happy means more money for the company, means that you're making a difference in the bottom line, and productivity is high. So what do you need to have in order to do an amazing job with the skills and gifts that you have? I think, in my mind, that's kind of like how our universe works. When you're living in your sole purpose, you will have more than enough. Even when you go into situations where you might not have been in that exact situation before, you will be met with the tools. You'll get the tools. It'll be that person that shows up and gives you the juicy information that you needed just in time. Or it will be, just the answer comes out of nowhere, but it does come out of somewhere. It comes out of you. And it's divine. You'll get that. And then the energy that you're given, when you are in your zone and doing all the great work that you are to do in this world, it elevates your energy. You feel great. So that's what standing in your sole purpose looks like. And let's talk about a company on an organizational level. What does it look like when an organization is not living in its sole purpose? Profits are down. There's a lot of confusion. There are missed opportunities. all your leaders and your employees, they don't feel supported. The management is not as effective in the organization. The leadership is not clear, and the operations are not streamlined. When an organization is not aligned with its mission in a way that serves their clients and their customers, things start breaking. People lose their way. And it does start with leadership, and it also starts with having values aligned. You know, if it's important for an organization to serve with their software to make sure that it makes their clients that utilize their product life more effective and efficient, well, what happens when their developers and their engineers and their customer service folks are making it difficult? It makes the product not up to par, makes the customer interaction difficult to get information or even receive information. That's what it looks like when an organization is not in alignment with their sole purpose. But what does it look like when an organization is in the sole purpose? I mean, things are in alignment. I'll tell you, the vision is crystal clear. There are guiding principles that are the foundation of its success. So it's one thing to say, okay, this is what we're here for, but you have these guiding principles that the leadership uses so that when there are things that are not quite specifically addressed in their motto or their mission, that they know, well, these are the principles in which we make decisions. You know, this is the order, these are the priorities, and how we were able to come to the right answer, even though everything is not written down so precise in the bylaws or so on and so forth. Guiding principles are very important. Teams are collaborating in a positive environment. I mean, people feel like they are part of something that is really positive. They feel like they're being honored along the way. They're contributing to something that's greater than themselves. Sales are up, and even in an economic downturn, the organization is agile and it does survive. That is what it looks like to be aligned in your sole purpose. It's innovative with a sole purpose that is meeting customers right where they are. So even in economic downturn, there is an opportunity to still thrive. Because with economic downturn, there's reasons for that. And so there are ways that you can still serve clients, maybe not in the way you served them before, but in a different way so that they can still be successful. And hence, when they're successful, you'll be successful. So how do you identify your sole purpose? I know this is the reason that, this is the promise in this particular webinar, so I'll jump right into it. And let's talk about how you can identify your sole purpose. The first thing is listen. And when I say that, I mean listen to your inner self when identifying your sole purpose and what you want to do. It's not an outward answer. It's an inward answer. The ideal way to do this is to find some time and some place for you to be by yourself. You are the best judge of what your sole purpose is, and only by listening to yourself can you truly identify what it is. No one can tell you what it is. Now, mind you, there are tests you can take, and there are things that you can do. However, the tests do not trump what you know to be true. They can guide you, but they don't give you the answer. Only you can give you the answer for what your sole purpose is. The other thing that I'd recommend is to meditate. And what I tell you about meditation is a kind of deep state of peace that occurs when the mind is calm and silent, and it encourages clarity. So the reason why that's important is because we are complete. Oftentimes people are, you might encounter some folks that say, oh, I need to be fixed, or I need to be helped, and I don't come from that perspective. I come from the perspective that we are complete, and we need to be empowered. And so but the answers are always inside, okay? There are things that will resonate with you and say, oh, that's right, that's real, that makes sense to me, and there are things that don't. And when I say they don't, that means that no matter how much you want your brain to be convinced that this is the right answer for you, it doesn't go all the way down into your body to say, yes, this is the right answer for me. So I want you to understand that there's a commitment that needs to be made to be able to do this, because the world is always moving so fast. It's easy, especially as a leader, to be pulled and tugged in so many different directions, that your quiet time is a time that you're able to rediscover and remember what it is you're here to do, how to serve. What is your assignment in this opportunity? That you're providing your gifts in a way that serve others and that bring abundance to them as well as to you. And there are many forms of meditation. So when I'm talking about meditation, I'm not saying that you have to be, sit cross-legged on the floor at 6 a.m. to meditate. I'm not saying that. You can meditate when you walk, over a cup of tea. And there are actually, applications. This world is so technical these days. I can look on my iPhone and look and find some applications on my iPhone that will actually either play some meditative music or have some meditative guidance. It's available to all of us, and you don't need any of that. You can just be in your own quiet space. It's important. And then look at reflecting. Once you know your soul purpose, you need to reflect on your life and see if it is in line with your soul purpose and if you're doing the things you need to do in order to live your soul purpose fully. Some of the ways we do this are to ask yourself questions like, am I using my natural gifts right now? Am I nurturing and improving my natural gifts? So yes, although we have gifts, it is our responsibility to improve and nurture them. I mean, that's why we go to school. That's why we go to get additional learning and higher education and come to Mile organization to improve on what we already have. It's already there. How do we nurture it? Are you doing that? How can I do this better? It's a question. What environment will help me live in alignment with my soul purpose? It's maybe odd. Environment is kind of important. There's some people that are city people, and there's some people that are country people. There's some people that their soul really feels nourished when they are by the water or in the mountains, and it's important to know what that is for you. Listen to what allows you to thrive in your soul purpose. And what that means is not necessarily that if you're in the city and you want it and there's no water that you will not thrive. But it is important to know that there is some point in your journey that you need to be able to replenish yourself and have time to reflect in a place that serves your soul. And ask yourself, am I currently living my soul purpose? What do I need to do to live it? Right? And let's talk about respect, because this is important. You have to honor and respect the natural gifts and your soul purpose. And you can only respect yourself if you accept yourself for what you are and what you're not. Seriously, that is juicy. Accept yourself for what you are and what you are not. You can spend a lot of time trying to do something and be someone that you're not. And that is a lot of energy in the wrong direction. It is more freeing to just embrace your soul purpose and your brilliance. And also to understand that you're brilliant in your soul purpose and you will be interacting with people that are brilliant in their soul purpose. And that does not diminish your brilliance. And I hope that makes sense. So always respect and accept who you are and don't worry about others in that regard. Love who and what you are. Celebrate your uniqueness. And there is in your workbook there are questions there, and the questions for you are, how can I respect and honor my soul purpose? In what ways do I disrespect and dishonor my soul purpose? And I'll tell you that you'll always have your gifts no matter what happens, okay? And that's undeniable. However, one thing points me, I remember a singer that I totally love listening to, and I know has made a huge difference in this world, and her name is Whitney Houston. And Whitney Houston had an undeniable gift. She touched many people. And yet, it's publicly known that, she ended up having a problem with drugs. And due to those drugs, her gifts were not as great latter part of her life than they were when she first started all throughout her peaks of her career. So what I'm letting you know is that you got to respect your gifts. They're yours. They're uniquely yours. They're your sweet spot. And people will only respect you after you respect yourself and your gifts. You have to train people how you want to be treated and how you want them to accept what it is your gifts are. And then I would say protect. When you begin to live your soul purpose, great and wonderful things begin to happen in your life. People begin to notice and talk about your success. And when you're successful, you inspire others to be successful. But just imagine you being successful in your authentic soul purpose. That frees others to also be authentic in being themselves, their unique selves. Imagine the difference you make. Sometimes even the people closest to you may begin to discourage you or speak ill will of you trying to do what I'm talking about. So what I want to make sure that we have and we allow you to understand is when you find your soul purpose and when you're living in your soul purpose, and let's just say you are in your soul purpose right now and you're utilizing your gifts and you're of high service, everyone, that wasn't their gift. Their gift is not your gift. So even our beloved families and our friends that are so well-intentioned, you know, they might not get you. They might not even understand where in the world you're coming from. They might not be, I mean, they quite frankly might not be the tribe that you are put on this earth to serve. You know, we're born in our families for several wonderful reasons. However, they don't know your soul purpose. You know it. And they don't have to know. It's not their responsibility to approve nor disapprove of what your soul purpose is. And the same is for them. So for your family, your parents, your children, you know, they have their own destiny. They have their own assignment while they're here. And yes, we're here to guide them. However, when they know their soul purpose, it's, you know, you might not always get it. And it's okay. It doesn't make it right or wrong. So you do have a responsibility to protect your soul purpose. When people might talk negatively, you might have other people feel bad because they're not yet they're not yet living in their soul purpose, so you might make them uncomfortable. So be willing to make them uncomfortable in order to live the best life you can live. And so when you protect yourself, you do not allow any negative influences to distract you from living your soul purpose. This is especially true when you are trying to start a new venture or take a leap of faith to start something new and that's in line with your purpose. So what I provided in your handouts is to list out ways that you can protect yourself if people around you begin to question or speak ill will about your soul purpose. And that might just be something as simple as affirmations. You know, it might be as simple as, you know that in this leadership role, you are to be able to support this merger, or you might have to support a new initiative within the company. Anything that signifies change can actually, people feel uncomfortable with it. As a leader, you have to hold the space for change. And what that looks like is not everybody saying how great and fantastic you are. So let's just be clear. When you're on assignment and you are doing what you are to do and you are in alignment with your purpose, and then you have to protect that. And don't let that get to you. So the other part of this is know, be, and accept yourself. It all starts with you. And by knowing yourself, being yourself, and accepting yourself in order to truly live your soul purpose in business and in life, it is really where, you know, life becomes to be much easier, honestly. When you're not fighting against the grain of something that really was never your battle, it really frees up time for you to be focused on what you're really here, what you're in this world to do, and how you're to serve. So let's talk about, who are you? I mean, this is a question we all have to answer at some point in time, and it helps to really think about the answer. You may find some surprising insights about yourself and your soul purpose. And so as part of your assignment, I want you to complete the Who Am I mind map in your workbook. Write down all the words you associate with yourself, including all the roles you play in your life. It's important. It all starts with you. It's the good and the scary thing all at the same time. And know yourself. As Socrates said, he was the first person to tell us all those years ago that we must first know ourselves before we try and know other people. It's really important to know yourself. I mean, I travel all over the world, and it doesn't matter where I am. I mean, Tokyo, just this past time, I was in Tokyo and Bali in April, and I went to the Ukraine the past year. And it doesn't matter where I am. We are humanity. We are connected. And what's important is for me to just know who I am and know the great things about myself and the not so great things about myself, and to show up authentically, because people know when you're real and when you're not real. So that leads me to, are you you all the time? Lose the mask, be real. And at first glance you might say, it's obvious. Yes, I am me all the time. Obviously, who else would I be? However, I want you to really think about it. Are you the real authentic you 100% of the time? Or are you the person that people expect you to be in different situations and in different settings? Just think about your answers and why you may not be authentic most of the time. And then commit to being the most authentic version of yourself. And what that looks like is, this is in business and in life, I will tell you. So what it looks like is, if you are you could very well be a leader, and you're an entrepreneur, so you're within an organization, and you just have a great insight on what will work based on the client's needs. You have a knack for that. You're able to laser in on that. And you might be given a directive that you pretty much know that that's not necessarily, the most ideal way for you to be able to serve the community that you have studied. You know this community like you know yourself. And you don't know, you don't have the tools, or you don't know how to be authentically, or how to authentically communicate to your leadership that this is not necessarily the way to go. Oftentimes we are fearful about being honest and being truthful. And it's not, and I don't think it's the fear that, you don't know what it is that needs to be said, but oftentimes as a leader, as a middle manager, as an entrepreneur, even with your clients, you might not have the tools and the strategies to be equipped to say in a way that lands on people's listening ear in an authentic manner, that they understand that this is all to serve everyone at the table in the highest way. It is not to cut anyone down. It is not to diminish anyone. It's to really keep the goal in mind and to show how everyone has a part to play in this. And in that particular idea, that might not be the way to honor that. So that is what I found. I mean, I've been a leader in a lot of situations, and I will have to tell you that it's been a lifelong of work that I've been in, and I also share that with other leaders on how to effectively lead in an authentic manner. And oftentimes, with authenticity, arguments are less. I mean, as leaders, sometimes we don't really give ourselves the permission to say, I don't know. Or sometimes we don't. And sometimes giving yourself permission to say, I don't know that answer, however, I will work with my team. You can expect this in such and time. I'll follow with you by such and such. That diffuses so much than to try to hold the question and give an answer that might not be right, and people know that that is not really a true answer. They feel like you just made it up, and it doesn't create confidence. So there are just times, and that's a little simple example, but there are times where being authentic and being very real about what's going on in that situation and the business environment in a way that is still professional and honors everyone involved. And the same is in relationships. Being able to ask for support, whether it's in your business or in your relationships, in a way that you're still a champion, you're still a giant, but even giants need support. So lose the mask is what I beckon you to do. And the key to leadership is really, the truth is that people can sense when you're not being real or authentic. They may not be able to put their finger on it, but deep down inside they know if you're being true to yourself or not. And that's why one of the keys to being a great leader is to be authentic as much of the time as you can. And an extreme example is Richard Branson with Virgin Atlantic. There is no doubt that he plays full out and is true to who he is 90% of the time, regardless of whether he is with his staff, customers, or the media. And there might be other examples that you can find. I mean, these are the people that are giants in your community. And when I mean giants, I mean they're leaders, they're well respected, you really trust what they say, you know that they care, and they really do lead a huge community in a direction that is positive. And you'll know when they're being, the reason why you can identify with them is because you know that they're speaking the truth. They're being authentic. And so that's definitely a gift that we can give to ourselves as well as others. And I'd say, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. That's a quote by Oscar Wilde, and it is so true. Sometimes I'm actually on this world tour now, and one of the ambassadors, she had actually submitted an application to be an ambassador, which I get hosted in different cities in order to come there and do some trainings and some laser coaching. And she had never met me before. She reached out, she filled out the application, and then we started talking. And she says, "Oh my gosh, you are so down to earth." And I said, "You know what? I think it's because I'm lazy." And let me tell you why. It is way too much work trying to be someone that I'm not. All I can do is be myself because everyone else is already taken, and what I know is the more I am just myself, the more authentic that I am, then I can connect with you on a level that just is I can go anywhere. You can go anywhere to connect with people on a humanistic level and to honor humankind. It really opens doors for you. And you uniquely can do it your own way because that's what you have. That's what you've been given as your gift in your soul purpose walk. And accept yourself. Once you identify yourself with all your, once you identify yourself and all your strengths and your weaknesses, you need to accept yourself completely. The good and the not so good equally. And that's also for your staff and for the people that you lead. No one's perfect. Accept their strengths and accept the things that they're not strong at. It's okay. And it's not about fixing your weaknesses. It's about accelerating your strengths and managing your weaknesses. And quite frankly, partnering. Because like you're brilliant, there's other people that are brilliant in areas that are not your strengths. And therefore, collaboration is so key to success. Because with a brilliant team of individuals coming together with a common cause and common values, serving in their sole purpose, that is a group, organization that is really successful and has staying power. So what we've been put into your workbook also is SWOT, if you will, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And just remember that the first two, strengths and weaknesses, are within yourself, and the last two are in your environment. So based on what your strengths and your weaknesses are, what are the opportunities that are best served for you to take advantage of? And what are the threats that, this really isn't your cup of tea? Based on what your strengths and your weaknesses are, this is going to be a headache for you. Like, this is a nightmare. Like, why set yourself up for that? Be proactive in your walk of success and abundance. And I'm sure that a lot of you might have heard in the Gallup Consulting, it's an organization that they look at where a lot of leaders come together with their thoughts and philosophies on employee engagement. And Gallup believes that we should all embrace and maximize our strengths and manage our weaknesses, not fix them or work around them, because when you focus on your strengths, you focus on your sole purpose, and you manage around your weaknesses versus trying to turn them into your strengths. I mean, it's a whole lot harder to turn a weakness into a strength than to just work within your sweet spot and get all your abundance from serving with that. Your weaknesses will rarely ever become as strong as your strengths, but your strengths have the potential to grow much stronger. So this is true for you, and this is true for your employees. Now, remember the third circle when discovering your sweet spot, abundance, and your sole purpose? Well, we're going to spend some time discussing that now. Abundance is your birthright. Many people may think if you live your sole purpose, you will not be abundant. In fact, the opposite is true. When you live your sole purpose, you become more abundant because you're doing what you were born to do, and the universe rewards you for that. You may not be abundant right away. You may need to struggle or face hardship. But if you are living your sole purpose, then even this struggle and hardship has a reason behind it and will eventually lead you to where you need to go, which is a place of fulfillment and abundance. And so I ask you to write down the following questions in your handouts. I think I already included this in your handouts when you do the work. How do you feel about being abundant? How do you feel about that? What does being abundant mean to you? I mean, I do know that I come in contact with servant leaders That's their leadership style. They're there to serve their community, their team in the most effective way. I mean, I oftentimes will go when I'm when I'm recruited and retained to serve in an organization that is looking to create a huge initiative, to have that implemented within their organization, then I oftentimes will tell them I'll create an upside down triangle, you know, and the pointy part is at the bottom and the 2 points are at the top. And I will say that I am at the bottom because I'm here to serve. And what that means is that as I make and I support and I come alongside in partnership to strengthen leaders and strengthen teams and help them and empower them to be in alignment, then everyone is on the top. And as a leader, I know that I have to hold a safe space for folks to be able to thrive in areas where there's unknown, uncertainty, there's change, and to really keep the dignity of humankind throughout the whole interaction. And that's very important in corporate America and huge organizations. It's very important. And so I understand the importance of really thinking about where does your abundance lie. Because in all that I do, it is abundant. I don't have to sacrifice my pricing, my dollar amount, or any of those things in order to serve in a way that I know is sharing my gifts with the world. And so I just want to let you know that you don't either. However, I know that a lot of us might think that, well, how can we do this? This is ridiculous. Like, how can this is my talent, but where does this fit in, and how can I make money doing that? I mean, these are real conversations. So I want you to write down, how do you feel about being abundant, and what does being abundant mean to you? And do you think you can live your soul purpose and be abundant at the same time? Why or why not? And let's talk about what it looks like to have what I call limiting beliefs. Like, for example, nobody ever makes money doing what they love. I mean, that is a common belief that some folks have. And what it does when you have that belief, it limits you. You know, some people might believe, well, I'm not good enough to have success. I'm not worthy of that. And my answer to you is, yes, you are. It is your birthright. You are worthy. Or you might say that, you know, well, you know, I'm too afraid. And it's okay to be afraid. But what are the things that you believe that don't necessarily serve you? So, like, nobody ever makes money doing what they love. Becomes thousands and millions of people around the world make tons of money doing exactly what they love to do. So what I'd love for you to do is look at what your limiting belief is. Like, what are the things that you tell yourself that doesn't really serve you? And then I want you to turn that into something positive so that you can redirect the course of how you think about those things. So if you're saying that, you know, success means being alone, you know, because sometimes people think that there's not enough room at the top. And what does that look like for you? Success means having great friends to relate to and colleagues to relate to. Or success is lonely. I mean, it's just whatever comes to mind for you. It can be about success. It can be about people. You know, people are, a lot of people take advantage of me, right? That can be something. And you can say that, you know, I am empowered. I will attract the perfect people to be able to live the best life. I mean, whatever it is that you want to change the course of what your thinking is. Because the important thing about thinking and your mindset is it actually runs your life. What I say is that the universe will do all it can to not make you a liar. So if you believe that people are mean, if you believe this business deal or this business is not going to work, it's not going to work. It's going to make sure that whatever you're saying to yourself is true. And what happens is, oh, this business won't do well, or it's not going to work. Then the only things that you're going to see in your business are things that don't work. If you say that I'm going to find the best ways to serve my clients so that my business and my team will get abundance, then you're going to look for opportunities to get abundance, like to say, okay, how can I service this client? If I service them and the pricing is right, then this is a great deal. It changes how you look at life and how things are presented. How do you look at things when they're presented to you? So reworking your limiting beliefs is really important. And then attracting versus pursuing. When we live our soul purpose, we no longer run after or pursue customers. we attract them to us. And what that looks like is when you know how you're to serve in this world and you've accepted everything, you have your pricing and your packages to know, hey, this is how I serve you, this is exactly how, what you can expect from my service, then they will say, wow, you're the person for me. When you understand their challenges and you're saying, well, this is the solution to your challenge, they're going to find you. It's your responsibility to let them know. However, it's not your responsibility to chase them down or to pursue them. And what pursuing looks like is when you run towards your customers, they run too, but they don't run in your direction. When you're able to sit with them and hold the space for them to see what the solutions are and how you guys, or how your company, or how you as an entrepreneur and as a leader can serve them, and what that looks like, how it addresses their challenges, and how it can allow, and what you provide helps them overcome their challenges to get to a solution and makes their life or their business better, then you attract them to you at that time. They run towards you. And when you live your purpose, people are attracted to what you have to offer. They want to talk to you about it. They want to talk to you, and they want to talk to about your services. You also attract a kind of energy and people and kinds of people that are like, yes, it's easy for them to say yes to you. So if you're happy and excited about your purpose, you will attract a tribe, a community that is happy and excited about your purpose the same. And it's also true about negative. If you're not happy, and then you're not going to attract the people that you're wanting to attract either. You'll attract more unhappy people. So I want to just share with you briefly about the Live Rich, Spread Wealth movement and what it's all about. And I know it's obvious. It's oftentimes obvious for people to think, well, that's all about money. And yes, it does have to do with abundance. However, there are people that I know that have a lot of money and they're not happy. And Live Rich is about living the best life you possibly can, getting all the richness out of life, your abundance, your relationships, your business, your experiences as an individual, and also spreading wealth with your gifts and your talents. And so this is a tour that I'm taking all over the world. I'm already booked for 16 countries. I know, like, even in February of 2014, I'll be in Dubai, India, and Moscow in that month. It's a tiring month, but it's all great. And it's really just showing folks what's available to them. What are the possibilities that are here for them? Honestly, your birthright is your abundance is your birthright. And when I said about a manifesto that I really believe, this is what I know for sure. The world is waiting on you, on your gifts, on your brilliance, on your unapologetic yes to you, on heeding your soul purpose call, to serve, to nourish, to experience, to grow, to live the fullest, richest life possible, to spread your inner and outer wealth whenever probable. It is time to rise, to connect, to choose your leadership, to live rich and to spread wealth around the globe. And that is available to all of us. And so now what I want to talk to you about is now that you have your soul purpose, how do you put your soul purpose into action? And what I would say is, when you talk about living your soul purpose, it's not about selling to a target group of individuals. It's about serving your tribe or the people who benefit from your product or service. When you look at your business as a way of serving others, the way we do business changes. When you serve, people understand you. They trust you. Your focus is on them, and they want to do business with you. When they think you're selling, they are guarded, skeptical, not trusting. Which is better for your business? You may want to share examples of how you and some of your clients serve and not sell to your tribe. So when you're looking at when you are serving in your business, can you think of examples of when you had a conversation with a potential client and what they got from you was that, wow, you're knowledgeable. You know, it's never the question is if you know your stuff. You know your stuff. And what they got from you is that, okay, they really actually care about what's going on in my business. And they really want to make a difference with me. And they do look at the pricing. I do agree with you there. They will look at your pricing, but they're more interested, first of all, in the value of what you're going to deliver. And what is the experience of how you're going to deliver that if they chose you. And they evaluate all those things on a regular basis. And you know you do too, as a consumer, as a business. You're looking at the same thing. And if you have someone that's not listening to you, just spur blurting out what they have to offer. They haven't even heard your situation, and they're just throwing a price at you. That doesn't feel good. It really doesn't. And, you know, I also want to let you know, if that's all the experience that you've received, that there's another way to receive someone wanting to serve you with their products and their services, and that's available to you. And like it's available to you, it's available for you to provide that to your clients as well. But first you have to identify your tribe. So your tribe is like your community. It's your client base. It's in many words. But your tribe is the people that you serve. They are not just your customers or clients. They are the community of people who look to you for answers and solutions to their problems. Once you know what your unique selling, serving proposition is, you must also identify what it is that you serve, who it is that you serve, and what characteristics they share. So oftentimes in business and in marketing we hear about, you know, what are their demographics? The demographics of the people that you serve. And based on, you know, some people's demographics can be, oh, well, we serve these households with a certain number of income, with so many children that, you know, have these kind of jobs and so on and so forth. But those are statistics that you can pull at any given time. Or you might serve individuals, or you might serve companies. We serve mid-sized companies of this size that are in this industry, and this is the company, and these are the products that we serve them with. And that is a demographical thing. You can actually pull data to find out what are these companies that fall underneath that. But when I'm talking about identifying your tribe, I'm also talking about what are the characteristics, and also how do they think? Like, how familiar are you with your tribe? You know, what I know is whether I'm working with corporate America or my individual clients, they are givers in this world. That's what they are at their core. I mean, so much so that they would give the shirt off their back and they'd be just like dignified doing it. It might be raining outside. I mean, they have like these strong muscles in giving, and they have a hard time in receiving. You know, and when you're not able to receive, you actually block the abundance that you're to get. It can show up in business, it can show up in personal. And I know that, you know, but I come alongside these individuals that are, you know, cultural creatives. They're givers in this world. They're, corporate executives. They're entrepreneurs. And when I give them the tools and the techniques, and I empower them to be their most authentic self and to show up powerfully wherever they are with their gifts, to add value and to serve, I mean, they are movers and shakers in this world. And they're not always drained because they're giving so much that they haven't been able to replenish themselves. And they understand that success and abundance includes them. So not only do they empower others in their communities that they serve, but they are also empowered also, not only just from financially, but their body, their spirits, their selves. They don't have to not take care of themselves in order to give in the best way. They're included in the equation of kindness, if you will, of service, if you will. It starts with them. And they're deserving of love and all those things. So I'm just saying that there's a psychographic as well as a demographic in identifying your tribe. And, you know, when they see that you get them, oh my goodness, you close more deals than you ever imagined. And the other thing is you get clarity on what are the deals that are yours and what are the deals that you don't care for. I mean, I do not align myself with takers. I align myself with givers because I am a giver and we never run out. Takers, they'll drain you, man. I've supported, I have empowered takers, and what I have found is it depleted not only me, but then the society. I mean, they're just taking, they're not giving back, and that's not the walk that I choose to have in my soul purpose living. And so I can be clear. I can say, okay, well, you might not be the person that I'm here to serve. And then I can say, you know what, emphatically, you're the person I'm here to serve, and I'll tell you why. And I can tell them. And so, and that's how powerful it is. It gives you clarity. It gives your tribe clarity. So why is the tribe important? Your tribe will become more than just your fans. They will love, honor, and respect you. They will tell other people about you and your unique serving proposition. They will look up to you and trust you to do what is best for them. You will never have to sell to them. They will come to you and ask you for your services and your products. They will love you, and you will never have to worry about aggressive sales, marketing, and branding techniques once you understand and communicate and bond with your tribe. So I want to be clear with that. It doesn't mean that you're not marketing. It doesn't mean that you are not out there in the world, sharing your brand, sharing what you are all about. That is your responsibility because you're a lighthouse for your tribe and the community that you're in, your clients that you're here to serve. You're the lighthouse. So it's your responsibility to be out there unapologetically letting folks know that this is your unique serving proposition. This is how you can serve them. This is the challenge that they're having, and this is how you can support them in getting to the other side and providing a solution for them that will free them of their challenges, whether it be business, whether it be life. And that's your responsibility. However, when you do that effectively, oh my goodness, it changes everything for you. It changes everything for you. So communicating with your tribe is so important. And now that you know who your tribe is and why it's important to have one, you must also figure out how to communicate with your tribe. You have to figure out what's their language. You know, depending on who your audience is, if your audience happens to be geared towards mothers, well, you need to speak in a way that mothers understand that you're there to serve them. If your tribe is geared towards corporate executives, well, you need to speak in a way that corporate executives can understand that you're there to help them with productivity, with productivity, with sales, with operations, streamlining operations. They need to understand that you understand what they're talking about, and that you can provide that solution. If you're speaking to children, if your products are for children, then guess what? You have two audiences. You have an audience to the parents, so you have to speak to them in a way that they know they can trust you with their children when their children has your products and services, and you speak to the children, which are two different conversations, and they're not the same. Children, you need to make sure they understand that it's fun. It's great. It's something that they're going to have a good time with. You know, parents is a different conversation. When you're speaking to, depending on the industry, you have to learn their language. And that's why having a tribe and understanding your tribe is so important, because you need to get there where they are, get right where they are. And when you're right where they are, they recognize you, they see you, and you will be able to succeed in your business, no problem. And then when it comes to your life, you will make sure that you can implement systems in your life to make sure as you live your soul purpose that you are rejuvenated each and every time as well. It's a fun journey. So we've looked at putting it all together, and this is what we've covered. During the course of this time, we've covered what is a soul purpose, why it's important. I hope I've been able to show you why it's important to live in your soul purpose in your business and in life, and what the difference is. So it's not just identifying your soul purpose, but what does it look like when you're sitting versus standing in your purpose? And how to be able to listen, reflect, respect, and protect your soul purpose. And why does it come with abundance? Like guaranteed, it's your birthright. And how do you find out? Like how do you find out what that is? You know, how do you identify your natural tendencies? How do you match them up with your sweet spot? And how do you identify and recognize your personal strengths and use that to leverage to create the life that you want, as opposed to trying to, you know, get your weaknesses into strength? That's not going to work. So how do you do that? And how do you learn how to put your soul purpose into action? So as the assignments that I mentioned earlier, this is the assignment for you. Make sure that you get the pre-work questions done if you have not done them. Uncover your sweet spot. These exercises are really for you. And they're meant for you to get clarity around where you are in life. And is it serving you? Are you able to serve powerfully? Are you sitting or standing in your purpose? And how to discover your purpose if you don't know what that is, or you haven't discovered it within yourself yet. Who am I? To do that mind map and look at it. Look at, especially as a leader, when you look at, and an entrepreneur, I must say, when you look at who am I, all the roles that you fulfill, everything that you're doing, I suspect if you do that, when you do that, you'll be like, golly, no wonder I'm so busy. So it's really good to like lay it down and see what that looks like. And also your soul purpose and abundance, and what are your thoughts around that? And in closing, I want to just really share with you the excitement that I have to be with you in partnership along this journey, and to let you know this is one of 3 webinars, and this bonus that we have. So this webinar has inspired you, has empowered you to do your pre-work and also your post-work and send it to us. We would love to see that. And we would love to see you be able to position yourself to have a chance to do one-on-one coaching spots with me. And what I do know for a fact is that you will receive value because I am doing my sole-purpose work, and I'm here to serve you. And I take that very seriously. And it is an honor to be here. And then, like I said, how you qualify, sign up for all three. The other webinar is August 29th, and the third one is September 10th. And send them to us within a week, and we will get back to you within 2 weeks, let you know that we have that and where you are in the standing. And I mentioned those dates to you already, and so thank you so much for being with us here. Thank you, Mile Organization, for having me, and I look forward to serving you again shortly. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Melissa, for quite an inspiring presentation. Folks, we are open for short Q&A, so would appreciate if you could put your questions either in the chat box, or you could raise your hand and we'll give you an opportunity to speak directly to Melissa. But I would request you to please keep your questions brief, comment, and precise so that we can take maximum and we can conclude it in time. I see there are already questions posted in the question box. So Melissa, if you're ready, can I take a couple of them for you?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, there is a question. Okay, there are questions. I'm just going through them. There are some individual questions. There's one from Elizabeth Woodvine. The question is, do you think that the social trappings of finance, rising costs of living, decreasing value of money globally, and fear a major reason why so many people don't follow their soul's purpose?
Oh, Elizabeth, that's a great question. And obviously, yes, the answer is yes. And so what I would absolutely say is there are a lot of things that we see in this economic world, turmoil, changes. I mean, there's a lot of industries that are upside down. Some of them are coming on the rebound. Some of them are still flailing. And, you know, their employees there, their leaders there, and it causes a lot of fear of the unknown. However, so my answer is yes. However, that also ends up being an illusion for folks, and it limits you. What I have found is, I mean, I've had my own personal clients that are faced with the same challenges. And when we get clear and we stop all the outside noise, if you will, and stop looking to the outside to validate ourselves, we end up being able to focus on what is our sweet spot. And there are clients I've had that have been able to transform their careers and understand that their sole purpose gives them transferable skills, gives them more options than they ever believed were possible for them. And so what that looks like is they had been able to get to other organizations that were doing better, that were changing the course of their direction and add value. They were able to go out on their own and add value, and they were able to stay within the organization and position themselves in another way that added value. And that all started from what was their sweet spot and where can they see opportunities to serve. See, when you look at opportunities to serve, you look outward, you come from an inside place, but then you're looking to how can I serve in the world, which takes away all that fear because it's not about you. It ends up being not about you. It ends up being you aligned with your assignment that you uniquely have been placed here to provide. And with all the media and all the economic downturn and turmoil, you know, that can kind of leave us questioning that. And furthermore, currency is always out there. So even though money is always out there, let me just be clear. It might change hands, but it doesn't go anywhere. Okay? So while one industry might be down, another industry is prospering. There are industries that prosper in down times. So it's really able to open up your eye, if you will. First the internal way, and then going out there to see where you can be of highest service and being able to speak your tribe's language. Thank you, Elizabeth. That's a great question.
Okay, let me move to another one. We have another interesting one from Brother Abid Al-Bana. The question is, as a student, we struggle when we really want to follow our purpose. Most challenges in life which are really attractive, requires giving up studies. So how to manage that?
Well, I mean, there's no purpose that I know of that doesn't require some level of studies. It looks in the form of cultivating your gifts. So, for example, it might not be the traditional route. Just now, there are more programs out there for entrepreneurship than ever were. Usually your business administration degree really helped you to be a really good executive, not necessarily an entrepreneur. So they had to create programs now for that. So what that might look like is the walk of Bill Gates, where he started school, but he didn't finish a degree. However, he had lessons. He's been in training all of his life. You know, and he always had continuous learning, but it might not have been in the traditional sense that society says that this is the only way you can be profitable in your particular gifts. So I would not be an advocate of not always having self-improvement or education and honing your skills. And I also have learned that there are things that in my career that I learned that now I bring all of it to the table. It might not have seemed like it was very valuable at the time, but now I realize I have more tools and more tactics and more strategies that I can now use to serve people in a unique way, that if I had not done something different while I was in my gifts, then I wouldn't have that today. It's part of my uniqueness. So, Brother Abid, I would definitely say that be a good steward of the education that you receive. You might want to expand your education to include your gifts, though. I would never say at the cost of not following your sole purpose.
Okay, thank you. Folks, also you could raise your hand. I noticed that a lot of you are putting the questions in the chat box, which I'll be happy to read them over, but you can actually raise your hand and I'll unmute your microphone so you can speak with her also. Meanwhile, let me go back to the chat box and let's take another one, a short one from Brother Ahmed. Is sole purpose the same as purpose of life, or is sole purpose an aspect of the purpose of life?
Oh, that's a great question, Brother Ahmed. So sole purpose is part of the purpose of life. It is inclusive of that. Now, and it's also from a business perspective as well. So it's not just your life. It's also how you show up in all that you do. And leaders have their life and they have responsibilities in business and their families, so on and so forth. So I'm also suggesting that you can live your sole purpose as you live your life purpose. And it's okay. And I'm also suggesting that life purpose and sole purpose do provide abundance. We have to be good stewards of what that looks like for us. And so there is a financial element, and finance is relative. It's really currency. So it's just really being able to understand that as you share your gifts into the world and your service to others, that there is an exchange. Oftentimes in the corporate arena and in entrepreneurial arena, it is a monetary exchange. And that can be accepted, embraced, and it's okay, because you are to be taken care of as you're living your life in service to others.
Oh, brilliant. So we have a hand raised. Let me try to go and unmute Brother Darwish. So Darwish, can you hear us? Could you please introduce yourself, where you're calling from, and ask the question?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, Darwish, I can hear you.
Thank you, Mr. for this great webinar. Actually, I'm working as a senior project manager for IBM Saudi Arabia. I have a wide experience in delivering project management and PMP courses, and this is my sole purpose and thing in this life. So I enjoy really teaching and doing the courses and seminars for people to learn about project management. However, I have the very being afraid of leaving the practical side of project management, because I need this to deliver the courses. So I'm unable to balance between this and that. And if I leave the job, which I used to have as a corporate, I will lose my practical knowledge. So I need your advice how to balance between this and that.
Okay, so from what I could hear you, Darwish, I'm hearing that you are in project management. I think you mentioned IBM. I think you mentioned that, you know, you love project management. That is your sole purpose. That's the gift you bring to the corporations that you serve, and yet you also love teaching and providing instruction and webinars and things of that nature, and yet you feel like, how can I live these two things in my sole purpose? Because not only is my sole purpose project management, but it's also my practical application in life, my livelihood. Is that the question?
Actually, it's part of it. My sole purpose is teaching. And when I deliver teaching, when I deliver a course, I like it very much. I feel myself, you know, instead of doing the practical side of the project management.
If I may interrupt, Ahmed Darwish, brother, I think your voice is not clear. Or can you hear him clearly, Melissa?
I can't hear him as clearly. I know that he says it's teaching. That's his sole purpose. He's a teacher, and he loves teaching, and he also does project management. And
I think
so
let me read it also. I think you have put it, Darwish, in the chat box, so let's see if we can quickly read it so make it clear. The question that he posted, that my sole purpose is teaching. I'm good in delivering project management and PMP training courses. However, I need the PM practice to excel in delivering the training. How may I balance between the two, cause I am unable to dedicate myself to teaching, as I will then lose the practical touch.
Oh, okay, that's great. Well, that's so apropos, Darwish, because you might have already noticed that I have a project management certified project manager, and I teach. I'm teaching now, and I coach, and I also do project management on a huge scale for large corporations. My project management deals with the technology as well as with cultural transformations, and so the teaching element of you is definitely transferable, and because you have that teaching purpose in you, and that's your hook, if you will, that's the thing that you do very well, you really can go wherever you want to when you're providing that value. Now, how do we make it practical? As a project manager, you are teaching all the time. You are supporting, if you do any kind of project management that I'm used to, you are supporting business units, you're supporting your team. I do a lot of coaching and mentoring even within me being retained as a kind of consultant for organizations. I don't just manage a project, like look at the task and the timelines and the deliverables and the quality. I also speak to the people. I speak life into the people. I teach them as a result of being within these organizations, so it up-levels the culture of the organization. People feel empowered, people feel inspired, and people are very productive and collaborating, and therefore we get the job done in a way that serves the organization, also serves the people. I also do teaching. So what I'm telling you is that what I call my business, I have multiple streams of income because of my skills. So I would not say that it inhibits you from being able to do all the things that you love, especially with technology. I mean, I'm here in Michigan, and you guys are all over the world, and so you are not inhibited by your teaching abilities. You are expanded, and what I'd recommend is do that post work and let me see what that looks like for you, and then I can actually, just ask me the question in there as well, and I can give you some even more targeted insight there.
Okay, thank you very much, Darwish, for this question. Let me move to another caller. There was another hand raised by Brother Adil Fayaz. Adil Fayaz, can you hear us? Could you please introduce yourself and ask the question? Hi, Adil, can you hear us? I think, let me just mute you again. Because
Brother
Adil? Adil, I think I've just muted him. He has posted the question also. The question is, by Brother Adil, is sweet spot is the good thing, but all the organization did not provide the opportunity most of the time. Your management gives you strain and pressure in this situation. How can one focus on a sweet spot?
Sure. So, that's what's freeing about understanding what your sweet spot is, because we're not always placed in a place that serves our hearts or our finances. What I will say is that when you are in an organization where you are not in your sweet spot, depending on the organization, it could be very stressful. It could be very disheartening. It could create a lot of stress, and it could actually impact your business, your productivity, as well as your family life. And so when I'm talking about sole purpose, I'm talking about that there is a financial loss and an emotional loss and a health impediment if you are in a situation that doesn't really serve you. And if it doesn't serve you, ultimately it really doesn't serve the organization. However, if you are looking to do your sweet spot, when I'm talking about sweet spot, you know, oftentimes as employees we do look to our companies to provide you know, service, and that's why you have an organization like Mile, right? That you can actually come in here and learn more skills and learn what your options are, because then you get exposed to what's available to you. And when you do the exercise and you say, okay, this is really my sweet spot, so you might be in sales and you're really more operations. You might be in operations and you're really more sales. You might be behind a computer all the time and you're really more so geared towards being in front of people. So it's really, first of all, you knowing who you are, knowing what your sweet spot is, and once you know that, then you can build a case as to how you can serve in the arena that is your sweet spot. Because when you are doing that, the organization that you work for will get much more benefit out of you than if you're not. And all organizations are not mature to that level yet, so I will say that sometimes that be more of a challenge for some more than others. But there are other organizations that they get it. And so while you are strengthening your sweet spot, I would also say that, you know, you might have your primary role, but you might want to volunteer to join other committees where you get a cross-section of people that you can contribute your sweet spot even in that. So then under the guise of being for this organization, you get to network further, you get to be on special projects where you get to really thrive with your sweet spot, and you get to be able to say that, hey, I did all of this while I was within this organization. So it might not be your primary, it might be your secondary, and the reason why I say that, it might sound like more work, but it actually helps you in your bigger life plan, because at the end of the day, when you go to your next opportunity, you have more to provide your employer or that manager than others do, because you are willing to do what most people aren't.
Okay, thank you. As I see, there are a lot of questions posted on individual grounds, but let me go over quickly to find out if there's something interesting about in general about the sole purpose, which I just found. There's one from Brother Ali. The dynamic world we live in, highly competitive, which demands selling everything from your profile to products and services and even your relationships. It requires you to stage dramatic actions all the time and become an actor. How can we focus to remain authentic in such a demanding world we live in and not a full-time actor?
Ah, Brother Ali, you got, man, I tell you what, that's a perfect question, because when you're an actor, I mean, that is like so much work. It is like ridiculous, and you can't, it's not sustainable. Because actors and real actors, when that's their gift, they have a part and it's a beginning and an end. They don't have to be it for the rest of their lives. So just to put that expectation on individuals is too much to bear. So what I would say, though, is when you are aligned with your sole purpose and you are authentically living it, your presence does magnify. Okay, so for example, I mean, I chose to embrace live rich, spread wealth. It's something that was planted in my heart many years ago. I'm just now coming into my skin of that. And so people know me for that. People know me for the work that I do in the world, and that I am global. And you know, this is me. Now it's me big, but it's me. Like I can't tell you a sad song and a sad story all the time, because that's not me. I can't speak to you about you know, what there's subjects that, I mean, I might not be able to be I can't talk to you about sports all the time. That's not me. So I would say that, yes, the world is so busy. There's so much information being thrown at all of us all the time that the only way to solidify a presence and recognition is to be the best person you can be authentically. So therefore, it suggests that you'll have staying power. Because if you're always trying to figure out something or find your way and be an actor here and be an actor there, then that's what it looks like. It doesn't look authentic. It doesn't look real. It looks like, just another offer. What is this? You know, you're just selling me. You're not real. And so I do see that there is a challenge in today's environment with access to so much information to have to show up strongly. However, it's not required that you're fake. What will serve you best is staying in your uniqueness. So, for example, regardless of what your role is, like the other gentleman, Broshe is a project manager. Well, to be known as a project manager that gets results and takes care of its people, you know what I mean? That's a different kind of project manager than someone that says, oh, I'm just going to get it done. Or if we look at attorneys, you can have attorneys. There's so many attorneys. But then there's you know, a subsection of attorneys. In essence, there can be attorneys that maybe deal with mergers and acquisitions. Well, there's an attorney that's mergers and acquisitions, and their focus is they're just tactical. They're like, we're going to get it done. We don't care who's around at the end of the day. We're going to get this thing done and done effectively with precision, and don't ask me any questions. Then there's an attorney that is like, oh, well, I'm very educational. I'm going to tell you every step of the process. I'm going to educate you. I'm going to hold your, you know, hand, executive, on what it looks like to do this successfully. How do you communicate with people? So there are different kinds of people. You might have the same role, but how do you do it uniquely? That's what needs to be pronounced in the world. And it's all about, it all starts with you, not trying to be someone that you're not.
Brilliant. Okay, there's another interesting one. It is reported that Bill Gates once said that for most difficult tasks, I hire the most laziest person, as he or she finds a shortcut to deliver that particular task in a quick manner. What would you advise to such sitting, lazy, sluggish people to get their inspiration from?
Oh, you might be speaking to one. He hired me too. So what that looks like is this. Like lazy people, you're right. We don't really want to do extra. So we look at, we end up using our brain and we say, what is the easiest way to get from point A to point B? And the thing is that I have a lot to do. I mean, even when as an entrepreneur, because I was running a consulting practice for Microsoft when I was there, or as an entrepreneur, which I am now, and I lead teams and I lead clients and all sorts of stuff. I partner with clients. There's so much to do that I have no time to be someone that I'm not. I have no time to, you know, hang around someone that has nothing but, you know, gas or bubbles to talk about. I want to have authentic connections. Let's get to the heart of the matter. You know, you're bringing me in to create a transformation. In this instance, I have a client. I'm working with them to create a clinical transformation in their organization because of the changes in healthcare in the U.S. And I said, okay, well, what are the challenges? Well, the challenges is not just about the technology. It's about the leadership and accountability and all these things. I don't have time to you know, dance with the untruths. I have to get to what's not working, stay and keep them in alignment so that they can get to the goal that they want. And so lazy people are inspired, and actually what's most inspiring to the most lazy folks is for them to especially be in their sole purpose, because that's where they're getting joy. That's where they're getting awards and recognition for the brilliance that they bring to the table. And that's where, because they are efficient and effective in delivering that, and they don't like wasting anybody's time, because really they don't like wasting their own time, they are able to get honored for that. The worst thing you can do is put a lazy person in a role that's uninspiring to them. That's the worst. So that's my answer there.
Well, thank you very much. Folks, as I mentioned earlier, I realized a lot of questions are being posted on individual grants and specific to their particular job nature. So I request you to stay tuned to our Mile community. I will just broadcast the URL, as Melissa has agreed to open her own community of practices on Mile community platform, which will give you a chance to pose some questions, and hopefully Melissa will get some time to answer them. But in the meanwhile, let me try to take just one last question, Melissa, for you before we conclude. This is from Brother Dilip Krishnan. Thank you for the input, and the same, I'm sure, are useful to be successful, but don't you feel money is also required to make the dream come true, apart from the valuable suggestions given by you?
Sure, that is absolutely correct. And I actually just got interviewed for a magazine, and they were wondering, well, how was I able to earn over 6 to 7 figures for the last 12 years? And so one of the things that I did mention to them was, you know what, I didn't always have money, but I did follow some certain principles, and it allowed me to attract it. And one of the things that I was able to always, regardless if I had money or not, I did what I said I'd do. I had a level of integrity around, if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And when I didn't have money, people caught on to that. And as a result of that, I think that part of me just being and part of you just being authentic, being, sharing in your gifts, understanding your value, showing up powerfully wherever you go, understanding the brilliance of being connected to humanity, and then coming with your skills and your knowledge, the money does come. It really does. And you would be surprised. I told you about the time where I didn't think the money was going to come because I didn't see it. I knew I was on my path, and guess what? At the hour, for me, it was I don't know what to call it, but it was right on time. It came. Business came. And I was able to get to the next step in my journey. What I would say is money is important. Money is not everything. And there's things that money cannot buy. And very rich people know that.
Okay, great. Well, that really brings us towards the end of this webinar. All of you who have attended, you will receive a copy. In fact, we had emailed already the copy of the workbook, which Melissa had mentioned, and we will be sending it again to all of you to ensure that you get a chance to participate even pre and post webinar before the next webinar, which is scheduled on August 29th, and it will give you an opportunity to remain interactive on all these 3 webinars and get and be eligible for the bonus which you mentioned, to have a one-on-one session with her. Thank you very much, Melissa. On behalf of the Mile, I would like to thank you especially for this very, very inspiring presentation, and rather you have given us about an extended time for which we really appreciate it. Any concluding remarks you would like to give?
Yes, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for playing full out. For those that are choosing to do the pre and post work, it's really for you. I want to hear, what your thoughts are. I want to hear how this is served you. If you ever want to go to Twitter, which is masterbizcoach, is my Twitter handle. On Facebook, Melissa Evans, the Guru of Implementation. I want to hear from you because I want to make sure that I'm always serving you in a way that will really make a difference in your life and in your day. Thank you so much for allowing me to be in your space today.
Thank you very much, Melissa, and look forward to moderating your webinar on the 29th. And folks, all of you who attended, once again, thank you very much, and thank you for making it an interactive experience for all of us. I have broadcasted the Mile community, milecop.net, from where you will be able to download the soft copy of the presentation, and we will be uploading the recording of this webinar on the community, so stay tuned. And as I mentioned, very soon we'll be opening the community of practice for Melissa on the same platform, so you'll have a chance to remain engaged and interact with her through that community platform. Once again, thank you very much, and you all have a good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're from. I will be